Hello, my name is Claire Sutton. I'm a chartered marketer and I have been working with apprentices and in further education for about 20 years now. It's a great pleasure to be with you on this virtual careers event, and I'm going to share 5 top tips about looking for and applying for apprenticeships to give you the best chance of getting one. I think apprenticeships are brilliant. They are a great way of combining the best of the world of work, so real work experience, a real job, real career opportunities, but also the best of the academic world as well. So as an apprentice, you'll be studying towards nationally recognised qualifications too. So as I say, I really think they are the best of both worlds. They've changed an awful lot in the last sort of 8 to 10 years. You can now do degree level apprenticeships. So definitely worth checking out. So lots of useful resources on the Amazing Apprenticeships website if you'd like to find out more. But as I say, apprenticeships are really good, so worth looking at. So as I say, my 5 top tips. So tip number 1, get some work experience. Now, work experience is a great way of making sure that you really understand what career, what kind of roles you're going to be applying for. Appreciate probably just at the moment actual work experience might well be hard to come by, but actually job shadowing, having conversations with people that do the kind of job you're interested in, going on YouTube, watching every single video you can find to do with the role that you're interested in. It's all really useful research, and I think that's the main point. Do your homework, do your research to look at the kind of career that you want to go into. Tip number 2 is actually to start applying early. Now, I've worked with employers who, believe it or not, will start advertising October, November, expecting their apprentices to start the following August or September. So that's 10 months ahead of time. Some employers are regular recruiters, they're that organised, they like to think that they're getting in early. So, starting early, don't leave it till June or July, because the right apprenticeship for you may have already passed by then. It's probably worth mentioning as well, actually, on that note, to just point out, it might be fairly self-explanatory, but to point out that applying for an apprenticeship is a really different kettle of fish than applying for a college or university. College and university closing dates, application deadlines, tend to be fairly static. They're fairly fixed. I mean, UCAS is normally about the 15th of January every year, isn't it? So, but because an apprenticeship is a real job, an employer will post that vacancy, will advertise the vacancy whenever it suits them. So as I say, that might be October, it might be July. So apprenticeships are not quite the same approach as applying for a college or university. So it's really worth being aware of that when you're applying. So say tip number 2, start early and keep going, keep at it. So tip number 3, and that is to use the Find an Apprenticeship website to do some research, look at what vacancies are available, and also to apply. Very easy to find. You literally go to your search engine of choice, type in Find an Apprenticeship, and it should well be the first non-paid advert that comes up. It's a gov.uk website, so it's got that sort of familiar black and white typeface. But it allows you to search by postcode, distance from home, title, employer. What's really useful about it, I think, is that it is also a means of useful research. So through that you can look at what kinds of apprenticeships are available, which employers are offering them, which colleges, universities, training providers are offering them. So Find an Apprenticeship is a really good source of information. There are about 28,000 apprenticeship vacancies advertised in England every year. And I would say 90 to 95% of those vacancies go on to the Find an Apprenticeship website. So it is a really, really good place to start. Don't limit your search there. I know training providers who will use other platforms like Indeed or Get My First Job or Not Going to Uni, places like that. But Find an Apprenticeship is a really good place to start. So I would definitely recommend that. And it's free to use. Unlike UCAS, you're not paying to make applications. So definitely worth checking out. Tip number 4, get to know your local training provider. So the training provider is the organisation that brings the qualifications, if you like, to your apprenticeship. So an apprenticeship is always a three-way deal: the apprentice, the employer, and a training provider. The training provider is the one who is inspected by Ofsted, so that's your guarantee of quality. But training providers often act as sort of unofficial recruitment agencies on behalf of their regular employers. So a training provider who delivers the kind of apprenticeship that you are interested in may well know or have a good idea already of which kind of employers they regularly work with. So really good idea to, again, because you've started early, find out who those training providers are and actually get to know them, build a relationship with them, go to their open evenings, send in your CV, that kind of thing. So really get to know your local training providers, because they will be another route to finding an apprenticeship. And then finally, tip number 5, I call it application bingo. What I mean by that is, when you're looking to apply for a vacancy, read through the vacancy details really carefully and pick out the key words that you think the employer is really looking for in people applying to this vacancy. So it might be words like self-motivated or quality or reliance, those characteristic type words. The assumption is, if you're applying for an apprenticeship, you probably don't have any previous experience directly in that industry. That's the whole point of taking on an apprentice, to train somebody, certainly at some of the lower levels. But what you can do is look at those characteristics and personality traits, and you can actually look at demonstrating them. So say self-motivated, if a company is looking for somebody and it says in the vacancy details that they're looking for someone who is self-motivated, great. Well, you can think, what examples have I got from my school, college, social life, hobbies and interests? What can I bring that shows I'm a self-motivated person? And as I say, I call it application bingo, because it makes it much easier that way. If you're reflecting the language in your application form or in your CV that has been used in the vacancy details, it does make it much easier for whoever's doing the recruitment to kind of play that bingo game and to match up your application with the kind of person that they want. So really important, whether you physically print it off and go through with a highlighter pen, pick out those key words, or whether you do it electronically, up to you. But as I say, application bingo. So that's it from me. As I say, find an apprenticeship is a great way to find an apprenticeship, so I thoroughly recommend that. And Amazing Apprenticeships is lots of further resources, so do check it out. But thank you for your time. I hope this has been interesting, and enjoy the rest of this virtual conference.